Just been issued for Codington County, moving into the Watertown area as we speak at about 30 miles per hour. This storm has a confirmed tornado with it and is on the ground moving to the east, like I said. And we'll take a look at that here on Velocity. Very tight rotation over the past few minutes that have popped up. You can see with these storms that some of this is very much so ongoing and just recent over the last few minutes, like I said. But base velocity, you can see the green and red there on radar, some very tight rotation right within this area. So moving into green trees currently, you're going to want to get into your safe spot as well. And as we take a look at that here with our reflectivity, we'll go back to that. But as we'll put a pause on that here. But if we circle this and we put it out about 35 miles per hour. Watertown 610. The storm is looking to move into the area. So you're going to want to seek shelter here pretty soon. Get to the lowest ground possible, away from windows, walls, anything that puts you in between the outdoors. You want to be in the middle of your place, especially get into a safe spot there. But otherwise, Clear Lake, 6:53 p.m. The storm will go until, this warning will go until 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that. But yeah, this storm just quickly becoming severe. There is a severe thunderstorm watch for portions of eastern Keloland, mainly eastern South Dakota, as well as southwestern Minnesota until 12 a.m. Central Time on Monday. So these storms quickly firing up and becoming strong to severe. Here's a look at live Doppler radar overall. We have that tornado warning just there in Watertown, getting close to that area, but also you can see a new tornado warning just east of Wilmer. So these storms are very capable and in a very unstable environment. Here's a look at the Watertown live cam. There's that storm just to the north. We could turn the camera as well, maybe to the west a little bit to see some of that as it moves in. But yeah, a little bit of a shelf cloud there. And we're going to continue to keep a close eye on this as it moves off to the east at 20 miles per hour. We'll go back to radar here, though. That storm just continued to move off to the east. But yes, areas like Kampesca and Foley, you're going to want to get into your safe spot now as the storm is quickly approaching. Otherwise, around the area, not much of anything going on at the moment. Like I said, these storms, once they fire up, they get going pretty quickly. Otherwise, here's a look at our rotation tracker. Pretty strong rotation there in the red. That is just west of Kampesca, like I said, and also green trees. But this storm is in Codington County, so that will be moving into Watertown here pretty shortly. Going to want to get into your safe place as soon as possible because, yeah, some very tight rotation there on velocity. With the green and the red close together, that means strong rotation. So there is a tornado on the ground with this storm, like I said. We'll see if we have any observations here that have come in. No reports quite yet, just a storm spotter found the tornado and reported it, and that's all we know for now. A large and extremely dangerous tornado was located over Long Lake, or about 7 miles northwest of Goose Lake, moving east at 15 miles per hour now, this storm. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that as we go into this evening. But a lot of potential for severe weather as we go into this evening and to tonight. Make sure you're staying sky aware. And now as we get our next scan, there's a little bit of a hook on that storm. So that means we are seeing stronger rotation. Here's a look at shear rate. Still some weaker rotation, but certainly nothing to mess around with because, yeah, there's velocity. You can see right within this area. This is where we're looking at that tornado currently. But otherwise, this is, if I can find a little bit of an area to give you a better look, around 168th Street and 169th Street. That's where we're seeing that area of rotation. But yeah, just to the northeast of Kampesca, that's where we're going to keep an eye on the sky there. But also, here's another look at Watertown, the live cam. You can see those skies darkening there, 87 currently with a southeast wind around 11 miles per hour. We've had a lot of instability today with the heat and the humidity as well. So we're going to continue to watch that. Here's a look at Futurecast also with these storms as we go into this evening. Looking to fire up still around 7 p.m. Could see more supercells out to the west there in areas like Huron and also to the south in Chamberlain. And those storms will look to form a line eventually. But like we're seeing right now, main hazards with these initial storms are tornadoes, large hail, and damaging wind gusts. So here's a look at reflectivity again. These storms now starting to move into the Watertown area. Heavy rainfall, large hail, damaging wind gusts, all of it is possible in this area. Otherwise, nothing new for reports just yet. Just people confirming that there is a tornado on the ground, just mainly west of Watertown there. We'll take a look at this again, just so you can see what we're thinking for timing wise as we go into the rest of this evening. Campesca, 6:09 p.m. You have about 2 minutes to get into your safe place. Very important. You're going to want to get to the lowest level of your house and into a shelter where you're away from all the windows and walls that puts you in between the outside environment. As the storm is an observed tornado, you can see, yep, there it is, more of a hook there on radar, continuing to move off to the east at around 15 miles per hour. So it is a slower moving storm, but you do have time to get to your safe place. Going to be very important to have ways to receive weather warnings as we go into the rest of this evening, because this is just a sneak peek at what could be possible going into the rest of the night as well. These storms are very dangerous. They have a lot of instability to work with in the atmosphere. So take a look one more time at the storm. Watertown, 6:26 p.m. is when this is looking like it will hit. So you have about 20 minutes, 15 minutes or so to get into your safe place. And also we'll go back to reflectivity and velocity here. Still very tight rotation with this storm. And as we take a look, here in the green, 38 miles per hour and also 21, so about 50 miles per hour, but a little stronger there in that area of rotation. And otherwise, our shear rate rotation tracker, still some weaker shear on that side, but certainly enough to keep that tornado going currently. And there's our velocity, the red and the green tight together. That is where your tornado most likely is at the moment. But otherwise, yeah, continuing to move off at around 15 miles per hour. Watertown, you're right in the line of fire for this. Get into your safe spot. Start preparing as well for this. We'll take a look at the live cam there and see what's going on. Yeah, darker skies still, and it's, yeah, pretty dark. A lot of lightning is associated with these storms overall today. We've been seeing that a lot. There it is, some there, but also plenty of that in Minnesota with these storms right along the border there. Graceville, Big Stone Colony also seeing a severe thunderstorm warning. But otherwise, the main thing going on right now is this warning just moving west of Watertown and moving off to the east at around 20 miles per hour. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that, and we'll see if we have any reports yet still. Nope, just the initial report that a storm chaser reported a tornado at just around 6 o'clock. And I would not be surprised at all if that storm is still on the ground, that tornado, just due to these velocity values, very tight rotation overall. But otherwise, it's going to keep an eye on that. And the rest of Kelloland so far, we'll go back to live Doppler. Not much going on. A few storms out to the west towards Rapid City, but nothing severe. A lot of the severe weather is right where we had that enhanced risk earlier today, just south of St. Cloud in Minnesota. There are a few tornado warnings with those storms as they begin to form a line, but mainly the storms here to the east in Kelloland. Just a lot to go about it and a lot to fire off of with all that instability in the atmosphere. So there's that tornado warning, a confirmed tornado for Codington County until about 6:30 p.m. Central Time. So 20 more minutes left of this tornado warning as it moves off to the east at about 20 miles per hour. We'll take a look at the timing of this once again. Here it is on radar, and we'll push it off to the east. Campesca, 6:12 p.m. You don't have much time left to get into your safe place. You'll want to get to the lowest level of your house, away from windows in there as well, as these storms could produce that tornado as well, but also large hail and damaging winds. Going to be very important to stay weather aware for the rest of this evening, as we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for portions of eastern South Dakota and South southwestern Minnesota until 12 a.m. Central Time on Monday. So we still have a long ways to go into this evening. But otherwise, there it is, that tornado warning. Going to continue to keep an eye on that. The radar signature not looking too great still, as we have a little bit of a notch there, which is where that tornado will be, right about in there. You can see that on our velocity. Looks like potentially a little bit of weakening with rotation. They're not quite as tight together there, but still we do have they are continuing the tornado warning. It is a PDS, so a potentially dangerous situation. That means there is a large tornado, an extremely dangerous tornado on the ground, continuing to move off to the east at around 15 miles per hour. So while it's moving slow, heavy rain is also a main concern with these storms, and we're going to see more of that as we go into tonight. But there it is, that tornado warning, an observed tornado. They're continuing that until 6:30 p.m. Central Time. It is observed and is located over Long Lake, so we're going to continue to keep an eye on that there. And let's take a look at our shear rate rotation detector once again. You can see the green, some weak rotation there, but otherwise you can still see some of that is popping up on velocity, not quite as tightly packed together as it was a few minutes ago, but certainly still some rotation with that storm, and there very well could be a tornado on the ground still. There is a lot of energy to work with in the atmosphere today, so it's going to be a bumpy night for some of us. But here we're seeing some other storms pop up by Wilmot and Millbank as well, forming a line eventually with this cluster of storms in Minnesota, and you can see a lot of lightning associated with those storms, but otherwise some lightning associated with the ones near the Watertown area, but nothing too crazy just yet. The main thing is going to be that rotation with the storm. So we'll take a look at our rotation tracker. This is what it has been so far tonight. You can see that strong areas of rotation. That was mainly along 168th Street as well as 167th Street. So that is an area we mainly had that tornado spotted. And for now, not as strong of rotation it's looking like, but also certainly some hail possible with the storm. We've been seeing that with other storms that have moved off into Minnesota. Very large hail up to egg size. And you're seeing some of the black here associated with that storm. That could be a hail core in there as well. And that's usually how it goes with supercells. There is a hail core associated with that notch most of the time. Yeah, this storm continuing to move off to the east at 20 miles per hour, a confirmed tornado on the ground. And that is going to continue for another 15 minutes. And it is still confirmed. There has been nothing that has said it has not yet, besides maybe looking at velocity, a little bit of weakening of rotation, but certainly still something going on. We'll take a look at the Watertown live cam, see what that looks like. Yeah, some darker skies there. Nothing we can see really just quite yet as that continues to stay off to the west. But like I said, we're going to see more activity as we go into this evening until 12 a.m. Central Time on Monday. A severe thunderstorm watch for portions of eastern South Dakota and southwest Minnesota. So we're not quite out of the clear yet for storms. We're going to see more activity form as a cold front moves through Kelowna and a low pressure system settles into Minnesota. That is what is sparking these thunderstorms, and with the initial thunderstorms, those being supercells like we just seen by the Watertown area, all hazards of severe weather possible, damaging winds, large hail, and tornadoes like we are seeing. But otherwise, we'll watch these storms eventually develop into a line along that front and move off to the southeast going into the overnight hours. So once those storms form more into a line and move off to the southeast, that's where we're going to get the damaging wind threat and mainly a hail threat, and that tornado threat will settle just a little bit, but not quite yet. We're still wanting to be very well aware of these storms because they are still just popping up and firing up. There's a look at velocity with that storm by Watertown. Not as much tightly packed there. The green and the red, that's the wind going away from the radar and towards the radar. When they're tightly packed, that's where you get the strong rotation and possibly that tornado on the ground. But it looks like it's weakening just a little bit, but we're still not quite out of the clear yet. Here's a look at reflectivity. That storm continuing to move off to the east at 20 miles per hour. If you're in the Watertown area, Campeska, you'll want to get to your safe place as this storm has produced a tornado, and it's certainly possible a tornado could still be on the ground as it is moving off to the east at around 15 miles per hour. We'll take another look at this on our radar and the timing of these storms. So Campeska, you need to get to the lowest level of your house, away from all the windows. This storm is quickly approaching your area, and if not there by now, Watertown 6:35 p.m. You still have a little bit, but not too long. It's not the time to go sit and look outside for this storm. It's time to have a plan in place in case this tornado warning is extended into the Watertown area. But even besides the tornado, damaging winds, large hail still very much so associated with that. Hail mainly about quarter size currently, but otherwise it looks like this hook is slowly starting to weaken. Hopefully that's the case, because we certainly would not want to see this keep going. But here's a look at live Doppler radar, and as we look at velocity again, it's still looking like weaker rotation, so that's a good sign there. But otherwise, you can see the red and the green a little closer on velocity. So this storm is still very much ongoing and with weak rotation as well. Campeska, get to your safe spot now, as well as Green Trees subdivision there. The storm is looking to be probably right around, yes, just moving into Campeska now, mainly 446th Avenue, 444th Avenue. That's the area we're keeping an eye on for that rotation. But Campeska right in the way for those storms. But otherwise, Watertown, you're right on the edge of this tornado warning, and it likely could be extended into your area as well. We have about another 12 minutes with this tornado warning as it moves off to the east at around 15 miles per hour. Solar moving storm, but otherwise could very well see some heavier rainfall with this. Not much for lightning currently, but we're going to definitely see some of that activity continue as we go into the evening. There's a look at Watertown. No rain coming down there quite yet. Oh, just kidding. There it is. It is starting to come down now, but otherwise doesn't look like super strong winds quite there yet, or hail. It's just looking like some rain for now, but that will definitely change as we go into the next 15 minutes or so as the storm continues to move off to the east. But yes, a confirmed tornado warning until 6:30 p.m. for Codington County. We're going to continue to keep an eye on that. Looks like some weakening rotation though, so that is a good sign overall with it. And as we go into the rest of this evening, you're going to want to stay weather aware. I cannot stress this enough. Have all forms of communication and have a plan B ready just in case if you're stuck outdoors during this, as any storms can quickly fire up and become strong to severe like we're seeing there in Codington County. It didn't take much time, maybe about 15 minutes or so before that storm became tornado warned, and we have spotters out there, so that is how we are receiving warnings that these are observed tornadoes. Otherwise, we'll take a look at if we're seeing any more reports associated with this storm, but I am not seeing anything for now. Otherwise, it is still ongoing as a confirmed tornado. Looks like weakening rotation still, which is a good sign, but otherwise not much of a hook signature like we saw just a little bit ago. But the storm is still confirmed, as I just said, and is going until 6:30 p.m. We'll take a look at when this could affect some areas here as it pushes off to the east. Watertown 6:39 p.m., so about 20 minutes or so. This is where the strongest part of the storm will be and move in. But otherwise, not much across KELOLAND as a whole on radar. We'll take a look at live Doppler radar across the area. Still nothing else that has popped up there, just mainly that tornado warning is here in eastern KELOLAND, and that's the main thing we're watching currently. But otherwise, that line of storms moving into Minnesota and central Minnesota with tornado warnings on them. And you certainly can see a whole lot of lightning too with those storms as they continue to slowly form a line and move off to the east. But the main thing we've really been concerned about today is those initial storms that have developed and have all hazards possible with them. They have nothing but a lot of sunshine and instability to move into, which gives them a lot of energy to work with to produce things like large hail and tornadoes. And we're seeing that with this storm right there in the Watertown area. There we go. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that was just expanded with that storm. We'll go back to our Aberdeen reflectivity there. And it is a severe thunderstorm warning that has a tornado possible tag along with it, but 2-inch hail with this storm. That is egg-size hail, nothing to be taking light there. You're going to want to get into your safe place as quickly as possible, as these storms are damaging regardless of the tornado or the hail. All hazards of severe weather are possible with this storm. Now we got Jay here in the Storm Center with us to help out.
Oh, thanks, Jayla. Now let's take a look at the Watertown live cam, shall we?
Yes.
You can see the storm that is just coming in from, it's to the northwest of, there you go, Watertown, just to the northwest. And this is the storm that has produced the confirmed tornado off to the northwest in Connington County. I'm just going to zoom back and forth a little bit for you so we can observe this thing as you are. Again, this is the tornado warned cell, and you can see the sky. I'm sure if you're in Watertown, you're seeing how angry that sky looks, especially to the northwest, and that's where the confirmed tornado is at the present time. And so we'll just keep an eye on this as well. Jaylen's been looking at on radar using the Aberdeen Weather Service radar at the present time. Can you go back to that and let's take a look at the velocity if we can, because we're seeing a pretty good signature right there. What that is she's looking at the winds inside of that storm. And so you're looking inside the cloud. The area in green right here, that's air that's moving in this direction. The red here is air that's moving in this direction. So you can kind of get the picture in your mind of the spin that's there. This area going this way, this area coming this way, and there's kind of a spin set up there. That is the storm that's coming into Watertown right now. That's what we're watching. And that's what it looks like. The reason it's flashing that purple there is because this is a confirmed tornado. This is the cell that has already confirmed a tornado. You can see it's heading toward, into the Watertown area right now. And it is a potentially very destructive situation just on the west and southwest side of Watertown at the moment. Let's see, I'm going to look at one other thing here. Could you pop up shear rate?
Yeah.
Now this is another tip. This is another tool that we use. It says rotation detector on it. But what this is taking all the information we were just talking about and putting it into one product. So this is where we have the storm that is circling right now. You can see it on the screen right now. That's what Jaylen is showing you, especially in the areas that we see the brightest green. That's where we have wind shear. And shear just means winds that are changing direction and speed with height. And that is a signature of a tornado on radar. So this is a very dangerous situation, kind of on the west and the southwest side of the Watertown area right now. We're just waiting to see if there's any extension. That tornado warning about to expire here.
6:30.
Yeah, so it expires in another 7 minutes. We'll see if it gets extended. But in any case...
But they do have that severe thunderstorm warning that was extended ahead of that as well, because egg-size hail is possible with that storm, something that is very dangerous regardless of the hail or tornado. It certainly has all the ingredients to work with there as it continues to move off to the east. Around 15 miles per hour with that tornado warning, so a pretty slow-moving storm for now, but it'll certainly pick up speed as it gets attached to that line going into later this evening.
I'm sure if you're out on Lake Campeske, it sure looks like a nasty cloud right over your head. That's the kind of the area where the spin is at the present time. In fact,
should we go back to the
could go back to the live camera there if we can and see what it looks like from Watertown. You're just looking to the northwest right now, and that's what it looks like. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, see if I can get a closer view of what's going on here. And that's what we're looking at. We can see a little bit of inflow there. And there is
a little bit of rotation.
Funnel cloud there. We're certainly seeing some spin right now. And again, this is just Watertown, just to the kind of the west or the southwest. But this is the big storm that produced the tornado, and we're keeping an eye on it right now. It is right near Watertown, kind of on the southwest side, looking out toward Campeske. And so that's what it looks like right now. This is certainly a very dangerous storm. a very dangerous looking storm. You can see in Watertown itself, just a few drops of rain is all we have right now. But this
Looks
is the
like winds are
business end of
picking up
this
too.
thing right here.
Yeah.
You can see that right in the middle of your screen. That is an area there is some rotation there, isn't there?
Yeah.
And the birds are leaving, which might be another indication something bad is coming. So if you're anywhere, especially kind of the Watertown area to the west and to the southwest, this is a storm which has a history of producing a tornado down near Henry, seen earlier. Many people reporting this. And can you see that little curly Q on the radar there, right near Watertown? That is the area we're looking at right there. If you circle it right there. And that is what's going on right near Campesca right now. And there you go.
Area.
Exactly.
Yep.
So if you're anywhere near that place, which is Campesca, just on the west or slightly southwest side of Watertown, this is a very dangerous storm right there. Jaylen's doing a storm track on it right now. And
about 6:44 it says Watertown.
So
but
coming into
could
Watertown
be even
itself.
earlier, yeah.
And so I'm assuming there's probably going to be an extension of that tornado warning around the Watertown area.
Yeah.
Because there's spin there, and we can see it both on radar there. That's
And
what Jaylen is
velocity.
showing right there. That's where we're looking at the winds inside of the cloud, and that's where it is right now at the present time. Just west or southwest.
Yep.
Now
right
zooming in
there.
on it, there you've got a good view. So
Yeah.
like some of the streets there.
Yeah.
172nd, Lake Drive. So right near Campesca right now. And moving in an easterly or slightly southeasterly
It'll eventually
direction.
move a little more southeast as we
Right.
go throughout the day, yeah.
Right, because these things, they don't move in a straight fashion. They move in kind of a curvilinear fashion. And so that's why Jaylen was saying it's going to bend a little bit to the right. So if it stays true to form, we're talking kind of the southwest side of Watertown is where this thing will be coming on through. Let's go back and look at what we see on the Kelloland live cam in Watertown if we can, because that is the cell that's coming on in. I better zoom back out now. We're in a little bit tight on
a little
that
more
shot.
zoomed out. But yeah, possibly you can see some rotation still there with that.
Yep, and I know we say it, and it may sound like kind of yeah, sure, kind of stuff, but a storm that has produced a tornado is more likely to produce another tornado than a storm that has never produced a tornado, and so that is why we always keep an eye on these things. When they produce a tornado, sometimes they lift, they come back, and certainly we're seeing that spin both on radar. And we're also seeing it, the rotation right here on our live camera. So we want to keep an eye on this. You can see that whole thing spinning. Look how the clouds are moving there right in front of the live cam.
Right downtown Watertown.
So there's a lot of, I guess you could call it turbulence, might be another way to put it. But right in the Watertown area right now, yeah, we got some rain, but we're more concerned about the tornadic potential out of this because that storm has already produced what was described as a large tornado a bit earlier. I'm not sure exactly what they mean by large tornado, but that's what's going on. That was what was going on and what we have the potential for right now. This is, again, Watertown. We're looking slightly to the west and to the southwest. I've got the camera pointed to the west here. That's straight west. And now I'm going to go a little bit to the southwest. This is from downtown Watertown, just on the southwest side of the city. But you can see the way that those clouds are moving right now. There is a lot of turbulence there, and there is a lot of spin out of that storm. So I'm just going to keep an eye on this again. It's is around the Campesca area, and as Jaylen was saying, it should continue to move a little bit to the southwest right now. So not headed directly into Watertown, but just kind of on the southwest side, the way things are looking right now. I'm not seeing anything coming out of the cloud, but that could be what's going on the backside of it, and we not see it. That just because we don't see it right now from this particular view doesn't mean it isn't happening, because we're seeing that spin on the radar. And again, this is a storm that has a history of producing that rotation, so that is what we're looking at right right in this area right here. That lowering of the cloud base is the area we're looking at, right in this region. And again, we're in downtown Watertown, looking slightly to the southwest, and that's our area of concern right there. That lowering you see in the clouds. Jalen, do you have another view of it on radar there?
Yes, we can take a look at it. And it is 6:30, so the storm is set to expire now, and I have not seen anything about them extending it, and it just expired.
And it just expired.
But, I mean, there still is rotation.
Yeah, we
with
still have
that.
rotation. We're going to hang with this just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we do have
Potentially some good hail, though, with that, for sure.
Yeah, the estimates, radar estimates are about 2-inch size hail.
Egg-size hail.
That could cause big problems in itself. And, of course, you could also see some strong winds along with that. So you could see some strong winds blowing those hailstones around. But that's where you do have the severe thunderstorm warning. Again, Watertown area down near Campesca right now, actually just kind of south, kind of just a little bit to the east of Campesca right now, moving in a southeasterly direction, where you see Foley and Appleby on your screen there, those two cities, as we move in a little bit closer. See Foley and Appleby at the bottom of your screen there. That's kind of where the potentially tornadic part of that cell is.
Where the notch of the storm is a little inlay here. Yeah.
Right. And as Jalen was saying, she's got that yellow box there. That's because it is under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. But I'm sure that warning contains the statement possible tornado.
Yeah, there is a tornado tag on it.
Yeah. And
that goes until 7.
Right, so another half hour.
Yep.
And that's in Cottington County. Of course, that's the Watertown area right now. And potential for the large hail and the strong winds along with it. You want to actually? There's some adjoining counties there as well.
Yeah, Dual, Hamlin, Grant counties are also included in this severe thunderstorm warning.
Mm-hmm. And
big box there.
Yeah. Now they're giving the direction of the movement of the severe thunderstorm at east at 25. The bottom, and this is pretty typical. The bottom of that big thunderstorm, or that bigger storm complex, if you will, is where you often have tornadic type of situation develop, because that's closer to where the energy is coming into the storm cell, and that's where you get that spin to develop.